everyone, it's me again. It's Keith, right? I want to show you something today that no one's ever going to show you. It's totally unique, and what it is, it's a rift of smoke on the water. Now, I've heard everyone do this every way, and this is the most popular one that I've heard, is this, where you do the open. I don't have a whammy bar, so I actually like, you got to improvise, all right, but you get what I'm saying. So it's right. So you think it's that, but it's not that. This is what it is. It's here. Oh, I'm too low. It's even higher than I thought. Listen. Oh, I can do it with a slide. Listen, I can do it. Listen. That's it. He just slides. He doesn't even. I always thought it was a trem. It's not. No, he doesn't slide. See, and that was the giveaway. That's how it's actually written. Apart from the fuck up, but you know what I'm saying, you can hear that's right. And the reason being, first of all, Richie Blackmore, what do we know about Richie Blackmore? You don't even know his string gauges he used. He used piccato strings. I think it was a 10 thou first, it might have been a 9. His third string is the important one, the G string. Hendrix used a 15 thou G string because the G is always the most mass that you've got out of the string set. So they always, when you're using germanium diodes, they're very sensitive to voltage, and the G string, that's why the G string is so, I know it's all the jokes, the G spot, the fucking G string and all that shit. There's something to this, and I know the God spot and all that. Yeah, the G string, guys, the key of G, all this stuff is important, right? So let's stay with it, right? Stay with it. Listen. This is important stuff. So the string gauges, I think it's 10, 11, 14, 26, 36, 42. And Piccato were making, that was nickel. Now the nickel back in the day, Nickelback, I don't mean Nickelback the band, fuck all that shit. I'm on about the Nickelback. The nickel back in the day when I were a boy, it was very different to nickel nowadays. The strings were very different. First of all, they were nickel. Most of the strings now are higher steel content. Well, what does that mean? Well, for a start, if you've got more steel, you've got more iron. If you've got iron, most of you guitar players don't even know how electricity is created. When you move the string, this thing is a pickup. It's got magnets in it, or a barb magnet, or whatever. There's a magnet in there, but there's coils, that's C-O-I-L-S, coils of copper wire. And when you move a magnet through the copper wire, you're disrupting the field, because when you move a magnet, and whatever speed you're doing that at, we know what the strings are, we turn them, A equals 440, A equals 432. We always work from the A string. This is why everyone gets confused. They're working from C, I'm working from A. So I'm at the beginning of the alphabet, I'm here, and they've progressed on to C. But I prefer it down. And I'm teaching you about Richie Blackmore. So the strings are very different. Nickel's different. It doesn't have the same magnetic pull as steel does. Therefore, first of all, it's going to sustain better because the magnets are going to not let the string, they're not going to pull the strings to a stop. If you've got really powerful strings, i.e. lots of magnetism, two magnets that come together, you stop the attraction of magnets will stop the strings. But if you've got something that's nickel, but it's actually enough to move the field, but it doesn't magnetise. You're going to get better sustain. That's why all those 70s guitar players have got beautiful fucking sustain. They got low powered pickups and they got nickel strings. That's the first thing. Let's just focus on Ritchie Blackmore. Right, so you're going, well, Ritchie's on a Strat. Yeah, but it's a hard-tailed. In those days, Hendrix and Ritchie had 5 springs in the back. And if you've got that string gauge, 10 to 42 or 9 to 42, I think it actually is. In Jimmy's case, he was even lighter on the bottom end because he knew that the bottom end strings, if you notice, when I did Smoke on the Water there, how tight and percussive that is. Percussive sounds. I got to do a whole thing on Les Paul, and this I got so much to tell you. Anyway, let's stay with Ritchie Blackmore. I've got to do one thing at a time. Let's do Ritchie Blackmore. So Ritchie Blackmore has got these light gauge strings. They're nickel. They don't have the same magnetic pull. He has Fender. He's had various pickups, but initially he had Fender pickups, so the magnets were close to the strings. We know that always gives a more bright sound. More bright meaning higher top end, and the bass is going to be punchy. It's going to be lacking. It won't be thick, but it will a punchy mid-range bass will always cut a mix. That's why Paul McCartney played a 30-inch scale Hofner and then a 33 and a third scale Rickenbacker. This shit is really super important if you know what you're doing with it, and I think I do. Anyway, so you notice with Hendrix, he often was up here. Because the tone on the thicker strings, even though they were lighter gauges, yes, they were lighter gauges, but what you're doing is you're getting all the snap is up here. And in those days, all the guitar players knew it was about punctuation, punching through the mix. To be heard, you want to punctuate. And Ritchie knew that. He could have easily gone. It's not the same punch as this, is it? What about if you doubled it and went? If you double track that, it's going to sound massive. But he didn't need to because he had John Lord on the organ. John Lord. When the organ comes in, that riff changes, and it changes because the organ's got different harmonic content to guitars, and he was playing it from a Marshall amp, so there's an overlap of harmonics, and that's why Deep Purple have got that sound that no one can get that sound because it's John Lord's organ, and he's playing with Ritchie Blackmore's guitar and his playing, and the fact is that their timing. They don't play perfectly in time. They're following each other. Neither of them actually know what they're doing. They're in the moment, they're spontaneous. And they kind of got a thing that they do, a format that they do live, but it changes every night. It's never the same. So they never get to perfect it. Because it's like, well, John tonight was a bit pissed and he played a bit slow, or he did what, and Richie's like fucking done lines of cocaine and he's fucking flying everywhere. That's a live band. This is how it used to be in the 70s. It wasn't like it is nowadays. I could go, there's so much that's so different with music nowadays, and why. I'm not saying it's better or worse, I'm just saying it's different. Some of us old dinosaurs like all this shit, and we like the fact that the guitars were out of tune, and that when they're out of tune and played against an organ, it's also like questionable with the tuning, because they had oscillators and different things in them, and that had to be tuned, and everyone, these are real humans doing it, and humans have errors, and it's a human error that sounds good. Anyway, stay with Ritchie Blackmore, Keith. You're Keith, you're not Stu. Stu's your guitar tech. Yes, Stu's my new guitar tech. We're trying to work some stuff out. Anyway, you're going to see more of him maybe. He's a bit like me. He's a bit of a wanker, really. Anyway, but he comes highly recommended. Why, I don't know. He's a bit of a dick. Anyway. Mama said the way you move, I'm gonna make you sweat. I'm gonna make you groove. Skip the road. Anyway, that's how you really play Smoke on the Water. And this is for the kids as well, because you notice how easy it is to like fret there as opposed to down here, because the frets are closer together. This is another thing. I'm going to teach people something now. No one's ever told you this, but if you work everything out from the 12th fret onwards, like this is A. Right, you see how easy that is to play? It's so close. I've got one chord shape there and I've got one there. If I do that down here, look how much I've got to move. Same chord shape, a lot bigger movement, a lot more effort. If you do it up here, what I'm saying is this is like, think of this as the kid's swimming pool. This is just a child's swimming pool, and this is the full-size adult pool, but they're the same thing. If you learn it here, it's the same down there, except you don't have that magic. This is the magic Kossoff note. It's the best note on the guitar as far as I only know the key of A. And this is me. I'm doing a whole thing that I'm writing. This is the when we used to have TV programs in the 70s, they used to have like the way they edited things. They would say things like, "Meanwhile, back at the ranch," and the music would always change. And so, anytime they went from scene to scene, it'd be. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Back at the ranch, all the cowboys were out on a posse. And that left the women of the house to themselves. And the women in the house started to have a bath together. And that started like this. They went, "Hey Wendy, yeah Lisa. Is the water hot? Yes, Wendy. Hey, Lisa. Yes, Wendy. Are you going to get naked? Yes, Wendy, I will." Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, see, and then they go to something else. You've just got this scene going of like these two hot cowgirls called Wendy and Lisa. It just happens. I could have chose any name. Anyway, look, I need to get out of it because you guys have got no attention span. You can't stay with this shit. I can fly all around here for fucking ever and ever, amen, and you just won't get half of what I'm talking about. And it's not your fault, because in this day and age, you have to always, like, have you noticed on eBay, you know, not on eBay, on fucking Facebook, oh, you got to try and be Mr. Presenter all of a sudden. Those people are so fake. Don't ever subscribe to me. I don't want any bells ringing. Pavlov's dog people, do you not comprehend how the fucking human psyche is affected by frequency? And ringing bells is a fucking big thing. Oh, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Yeah, the full fucking sentence goes like this. Every time an angel gets its wings ripped off, it can no longer fly. And in a world full of people, only some want to fly. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, this is Keith. I'm having a bit of a day today, alright, so I'm sorry, I'm a bit fucking fired up. To be honest, I'm dying to get off here. I'm going to play some mean fuck. Oh no, I didn't even show you the Richie Blackmore trick. That's not how you do Smoke on the Water, look. Here's the trick. Right, get it near enough. Right, now I've got that. Once you've got this, look. Then you do this. Now here's the thing that people always get wrong. Listen to these notes. Wait for it. Most people do this. Now listen to the difference. I'm emphasising the flat 5, but I'm keeping the root. And now I'm going to go up to do the note that we were doing before, which is the flat 2. That's really dissonant. That's a bit more like it. That's devil's interval shit coming right at you. Listen. And everyone goes on about Blackmore, it's all downstrokes. No. I'll tell you who's all downstrokes. It's James Hetfield, and I know it because I asked him personally. Yes, I can name drop up the ones. It wasn't me, it was my guitar tech. My guitar tech worked with Lou Reed. He fucking goes on about him all day long. Never get him to shut his fucking mouth. He's like lunatic. Anyway, whatever. Moving on. Stay with it. Stay in the key of G. And now, the thing is, the reason that Richie didn't want to let everyone know that he was doing the G trick, because everyone, Jimmy Page knows this, everyone knows it. It's the old bluegrass trick. You just get a drone going. These strings I've got on are 1,000 years old. That's the other thing back in the 70s. We tried to keep our strings on for as long as possible. And when they was finally absolutely dead, we would take them off very carefully, straighten out the kinks as much as possible, and then put them into a saucepan full of hot water with vinegar, and we'd boil them up. And Eddie Van Halen would do that even with new strings. A lot of people they don't realise how important these things are. But anyway, oh fuck, I'm such a geek. Anyway, my guitar tech will tell you all of this stuff. He's taught me loads of stuff. Anyway, see you later. Bye.